Yeah. Well, actually, part of the fun probably should have been us just chatting, but hey, this is the Joe Gissy podcast, not the podcast experience like Joe Rogan or anything like that, but this is all just about finance, fitness, positivity. So, um, I have Eddy Gifford on here right now. Eddy is a buddy of mine. He also works for Tactive. Um, he actually, you can do all three of these in essence. I mean, you're a financial advisor. You've been on TV, a lot of different shows. You're the stock guy. You're the crypto guy. Um, but you're also very physically active. You've done a lot of CrossFit. You've wrestled, and you're a pretty damn positive guy. So I think it's a pretty good start. Just kind of just get into it. Like tell me a little bit about your background, but don't go too far. We only got an hour, man. I know how you
Yeah,
talk.
yeah. Hey, we experienced this earlier this year when you asked for my backstory, and the video went on and on and on, right? So,
Well, between
uh,
you and me and the other guy, the three of us, each of us did a 20-minute dissertation on kindergarten on up, and yeah,
right, right.
that was fun.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I come from a family. My dad was a construction worker. He did concrete, and really just instilled the idea of hard work at a young age. Can't be afraid to roll up your sleeves and go out there. But there were always expectations. You were expected to get straight A's in our family. You were expected to do your best in whatever you chose to do. You were expected to finish anything you started. So
Did you
it
get
wasn't
straight
like, oh,
A's?
I'm going to try baseball.
So sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah,
did you get straight A's?
I did. I
Oh,
did.
okay, all right.
I was actually four. Well, I mean, I got a couple of B's in high school, I guess. I was actually like a 4.64 GPA. So uh,
Damn. I
mostly A's. My wife trumps me because she was the like the dean's medalist of the School of Business at Fresno State where we met. So she's
no,
even smarter than I
I was
am.
a B student. I was a B student in high school, B plus, and a C student in college. Well, obviously C plus to B somewhere in there.
Yeah, I had my moment. I had my moment in college where I think we all have that moment where we're just lost and we're like, hey, like, I don't know what I want to do. And it's always funny that when I think about it, you're 17, 18 years old going to college and they're asking you, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? And I'm like, I have no idea. Even after I was almost done with a math degree, and I was like, I don't think I want to be a math teacher anymore. And so, fortunately, I ended up finding finance. But
Hey,
when my
before we get into that, I'm going to interrupt you a lot, actually, just because
That's
I'm now that
good.
I'm thinking
Do
about
it.
this.
Yeah.
What's interesting about what you just said? So I changed my major three times, but you were a math major.
I was math and finance,
That
and
so
about I probably have 17 minors. I swear. Yeah.
I started. I wanted to be a math teacher. Like my whole goal. My dad and I actually laugh about this. My goal was I wanted to become an algebra teacher, go back to my high school, teach algebra, coach hockey. Like that. That was like the goal back then. I
Joe,
got into
you and I are the
calculus.
same person. That's funny.
Yeah, my calculus teacher was so strung out. He was like, "You don't want to do this. You don't want to teach kids." And I was like, "Okay, I better change my major." I changed to history, and I was like, "What am I going to do with history?" Like, I love history, but didn't do it. And then finally, I ended up with business marketing. So funny how things
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. No, it's like my plan was the same. I was gonna be a math teacher and wrestling coach. I started wrestling when I was 5 years old. That was what I was gonna do. Obviously, I mean, we both competed at a very high level in our respective sports, both like a step away from the Olympics almost. Same story. And my experience was similar. I was going to be a math teacher and a coach, and tell all my teachers and coaches said, no, Eddy, don't do that. You're so much smarter than that. You don't want to teach kids. It's like it was the same thing. So I thought it was interesting that that's the way it shook out.
It's interesting. I don't know if it was mine or yours, but you were at least cutting out. We'll see. Maybe we have to edit that out at
You
some
froze
point.
on me, so I don't know if it was, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
back. I heard you the whole time, but you were stuck in a really funny face. So
yeah, yeah.
that's the fun of
I
doing a
gotta
pod
reset.
or a Zoom podcast. No, so you got into like, you know, you geek out on finance. Like you do, like you're super excited about it. Um, you know,
Mhm.
the problem I think with finance for the majority of people, like I got into it probably, I mean, a little different than you did. I got into it actually very reluctantly because my dad, he worked from home, then he got an office. I didn't know what he was doing. He was doing something with stocks, and I was just like, I don't want to do the family business. That seems so silly. So I went off to California, went out to go find myself, be an entrepreneur, did a bunch of other stuff, and then like somehow I got sucked in. And the only, what did it for me actually was I was at this Get Motivated seminar that Monster Energy actually sent me to. And there was this presentation from TD Ameritrade about 3 green arrows means you buy, 3 red arrows means you sell, and you're going to buy options and sell options. I was like, it can't be that easy. They go, tell me it's
Mhm.
not that easy. And they go, for $99, you can come to our weekend course. I go, oh, they're going to get me. I don't want to spend $99 and go to this. I know what they're going to do to me here, but I did it anyways. And then I went, and then, I got some information. And then, of course, they try to sell you on the next level of $10,000 to go to the next level and learn more. Get this
Right,
book,
right.
it's $10,000. And then I didn't do that, but I started like playing with stocks. Like that got me to start playing with things. And then I called my dad and he goes, you're being an idiot. I'll teach you what to do with this stuff. I was like, all right,
Mhm.
I'll start
Mhm.
listening. And then, here I am today. So that's me in a nutshell. How the hell did you get into it?
Me, I mean, honestly, I just knew what I didn't want to do, right? Like I thought I wanted to be a math teacher and coach. I got trumped by all my teachers and coaches. They said, no, you're not doing that. And then, part of the deal when I was in school was I would come home in the summers. I would coach the junior national wrestling team, and I'd work construction with my dad. So I'm out there pouring concrete in 110 in Las Vegas. So I knew exactly what I didn't want to do. Like I definitely did not want to be doing construction and concrete for the rest of my life. I was like, okay, so that is a definite no. I loved teaching and coaching. Like when I would coach the kids, I was always like really good at like getting the kid that was like needed that extra 10% to become all American and get to the next level. Like I was always good at like pulling that out of people and getting them to that next level. And so it kind of just like happened that I fell into a finance class in college and was like, oh gosh, this is numbers and it's practical application. This is
Yeah.
awesome because I'm a numbers nerd. And then as I was getting through and finishing all that up, part of my process was I was going to do an internship. So I decided to do an internship at New York Life, which was a big life insurance company. But of course, they told me, like, oh, Eddie, but you can be a financial advisor at New York Life. And I'm like, okay, well, what the heck? I don't know anything about anything because all I know is how to shovel some concrete and that I'm pretty smart with numbers. So did the internship, actually enjoyed it. Learned a ton about practice management and learned a ton about the life insurance and how it fits into a financial plan. And when I finished school, I took the plunge. Basically, graduated with a double major in math and business finance. Um, Moved to San Diego, got married, and started a business all within like 30 days.
Yeah. It's the way to do it.
Like, yeah, if I was to give advice as a financial advisor to clients today, I would say don't do it that way because I've never had a salary in my entire adult working life.
Well,
But
hold on a minute. How about when you're starting out and you have very little money,
mhm.
very little experience, and you have to tell people what to do with their $1 million.
Yeah, that was hard. I mean, like, so when I came into the business, I was 25 years old. I had no gray hair. I was
Yeah.
green. Wasn't it definitely, and I didn't come from like my dad did it, like I was just like, in it.
Oh, don't, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
stop. Don't get me wrong. I
Hey,
love
hey,
my
hey.
dad. He's an awesome
Right.
guy. He did not help me
Yeah.
with anything. it
He's
was,
like, he's like,
it,
you figure it out, bud.
it
Yeah.
was me on my own. But
Yeah.
so what, I actually have two follow-up questions. What would you tell 25-year-old Eddy? Because I'm sure that the way you did you were with a different company. So the way you did financial planning completely different than how you're going to do it now, right? What would you tell
Yeah,
a
I mean,
25-year-old Eddy about starting over at that age and being in this business?
I don't know if I'd say anything, that would really like be different. I think that it's just stick to it, and I think that I would say, focus on the complete picture earlier. Because when I first got started, especially at New York Life, it was all about life insurance. And then and so it was like we're just focusing on life insurance. And then I decided I
How
didn't
did you
want to
get
be a life
people?
insurance agent. What's that?
How did you get people?
Well, that was the hard part, right?
Well, that's the hard part now for
That's the
advisors.
hard part always. But I mean, the way that we did it was we basically wrote down everybody we knew on a piece of paper, and it was supposed to be a project 200, right? Write down 200 names that you either know or you can get an easy introduction to, and then you start calling them, right? That thing called the phone that no one picks up anymore and actually talks into.
Right.
Um, and that may have been like the one of the most like anxious times in my life. And I mean, I've been like on the top stage wrestling in like, national tournaments after like putting in a brutal year of training and cutting all this weight and not eating or drinking for 3 days, not healthy, by the way. Um, but picking up that phone the first time, that might have been like the heaviest weight they've ever picked up. Like the heart thumping, the pounding, and just like not knowing what was going to happen on the other end when you pick up that phone and called. Uh, that was hard. But it was my job, and I knew that if I wanted to be successful and if I wanted to provide and I wanted to grow, like that was part of the process. And fortunately, but coming from an athletic background, in both football and wrestling, um, there's things you got to do that you don't like in order to get the things that you want in life.
Did you
And
guys did you guys have a script that you had to
oh
follow,
gosh,
or was
it
it
was completely scripted. Yes, like
yeah,
that I mean, and so like to go back to like, well, how did I do it at 25, not knowing anything? Like I
it had to
over
be completely scripted out.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything was completely scripted out. And I just like, and like you joked about the fact that like I geek out so much, but I think that was a product of me starting so young in the business. The only thing that I had, because I didn't have any gray hair, was my ability to learn more stuff, right? And
Yeah.
so if I could just develop more and more and more and more knowledge, that would give me confidence. And then confidence and conviction are powerful no matter what age you're at. And so if you really, really believe in what you're doing and you really, really believe in what's behind you, it doesn't matter if you're 25 or 15 or 45 or whatever. People will give you a chance at least. Now you got to follow through,
Yeah.
right? I mean, just getting the interview is not getting the sell, right?
Well,
Um,
I think so. So one of the things I'm trying to think about right now, like today, financial advising,
mhm.
somebody who's young wants to get into it. I mean, I know how I would do it now, but it seems like being independent is probably one of the hardest things for them to do. Probably joining a bigger organization before they go independent.
I
That's by the way,
think
that's not how I would do it.
right. I think that that's the safe route. I think that like, building a foundation, I mean, of knowledge. But the problem is that no matter where you go, um, it's going to be a little cultish, right? They have their way of doing things. And so that was the thing that always bugged me about whether it was New York Life or Raymond James. It's like they do it this way. Like you're in this box, right? And as
Sure.
far as I'm concerned, as an advisor, like I work for my clients. I don't work for a big
Yeah, you
company.
think that
So like,
now.
yeah,
Yeah,
I get that now, right?
you're good saying that now. You're not good at saying that when you're 25.
Oh, absolutely not, because like you have no idea what you're talking about, right?
No, not at all. Well, it's funny. So I worked at Hollister way back in the day,
hmm
um, and I always thought it was interesting that this company was run by high schoolers and college kids. But the reason why it worked, it's the same thing. Like I look at
hmm
McDonald's or In and out there, and
Right.
everybody's so young. You're like, how does this machine work? But literally every single morning, as a manager of that store, I would have a printout, and it was literal just a checklist.
Mhm.
check the light bulbs. Okay. So I look around, check the light bulbs. All right. Clean off this surface. Okay. You gotta go clean that surface. Like it had like a checklist of what I had to do. Make sure somebody cleans the bathroom once a week. Like it was silly, but all that stuff. And then you have your checklist for closing up and opening up and when, yeah, all that stuff. But I was like, oh, this makes it so much easier. So I think when you're starting out for like New York Life or some like a Northwest Mutual, it's almost like they just give you this checklist and say, here you go. But I don't think
Mhm.
that's going to work when you're independent. Like if you started out fresh and you don't have that, or you don't have a structure, because actually most financial advisors independent now, like even if they left like an Edward Jones or they left a Raymond, they still don't have that. It's like that structure's gone all of a sudden. It's like they don't know what to do.
Yeah, no, that definitely is rough. I mean, like the like having like organization and having that checklist is very, very important, right? I think the other thing that I would tell 25-year-old Eddy is like ask for help earlier. And because I don't know what it is about being like in your early 20s and mid 20s, like you just feel like you want to take on the world like all by yourself. I'm going to do it myself, right? That was my thing, and it was like I'm not going to lean on the people that I know. I'm going to do it myself. I'll cold call, I'll go like to these businesses, I'll do all this and whatever.
You
It
feel like
wasn't
you know
until
it all at 20, in the
yeah,
mid 20s, mid to late
yeah,
20s. I was pretty sure I knew it all.
yep.
I was a knucklehead. I'll repeat that, all the way through the end of my life. It wasn't until I was hitting my 30s that I actually was like, okay, I don't know everything. I
Yeah.
definitely need, mentors or help and get things, straightened out.
Exactly. And the mentorship thing is huge. I mean, I would have leaned on my like long-standing relationships a lot earlier. I would have asked for help a lot earlier, knowing now what or if I would have knew. And so like I think that's like the thing is that like no one who's ever built a successful business did it 100% on their own. They had somebody somewhere helping them out.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
got a loan, they had a network, they had something. And if you don't have a network, then go create a network for yourself. You have those abilities. You can set up your own, latips or whatever. You can do any of that because everybody else is looking
Set up
for a
your
way
own
to
what?
do their business too.
What did you say? Set up your own what?
Well, we have an organization out here. It's called like Latip, and it's basically just a bunch of advisors and um plumbers and GCs and
Oh, so
stuff.
it's like
So it's like a referral network, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
Business Network International or
right,
something.
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, I want to hear your thoughts on this first, and then I'll give you my thoughts on this.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
Keep it going, Eddie. Keep going to your young badass 25-year
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
self.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but the like, don't be so like overconfident. I think that's like a problem when you're 25 years old. Like you said, you think you rule the world and you think that you can do anything and you know better than all the people that did it before, right? The sooner you can realize that your job is not to create the will, but just to improve it, the sooner that your job and your life and your business is going to become a lot more successful. Even if it's not like, perfect, and because at the end of the day, like there is no such thing as perfect. There's such thing as excellent, right? And so strive for excellence. Don't worry about being imperfect. That's just the way it goes. And be a doer. That's like one of the things was I probably and I still do to this day. It's a weakness of mine. I probably, I'm the prototype of analysis paralysis, where I will analyze something so much that I will find a reason that it doesn't work rather than realizing that, like, no, this works. Let's go implement, let's go do it. It's so easy to test and 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 try to get to optimal when nobody lives in optimal land. Everyone lives in practical land. And so they just want something that works and does what they think it should.
You overanalyze. I would never have guessed that.
Never,
Yeah,
never, not at all.
but a lot of financial advisors do that.
It's a strength, but I also think it's a weakness from the standpoint that a lot of times just because they don't want to go pick up the phone or they don't want to go network or they don't want to go do like the hard stuff, right? It's easy to
Well,
like do the stuff that you enjoy. It's hard to go do the stuff to grow your business, right?
yeah, I no, look, I completely agree. I mean, when I went independent, which was me jumping in the industry, I had to start it from scratch, knew nobody. I mean,
Right.
I went to my network, talked to a couple of people that I used to work with, and they ended up becoming clients. But I mean, I had to start from scratch and just kind of figure things out along the way. What now you've left, you were with, not Northwest Mutual. I'm sorry. You were with,
Yeah, it was the New York Life. So started with
New
New
York
York Life.
Life. And then after New York Life, where'd you go? You went independent to
So
USA?
I went independent. No, I went I lasted about 18 months at New York Life and realized like I don't want to be that a life insurance only guy. Whole life is not the solution to every problem for everybody. Even though they told me it
You sure about
was.
that? Kind of feel like
No.
it could be. Oh.
uh, so I actually went and worked with there's an independent shop in Carlsbad called Beacon Retirement Planning Group.
Okay. Heard of them.
And they they were specialists in index annuities and index universal life insurance. So those are the two bad words at New
So you're
York
you're
Life.
still in insurance,
So
but
I'm transitioning, right?
yeah, you're like, okay, well, there's new insurance products,
This
so
is yeah. So these are
that's
pretty
different.
cool because there's more upside potential and no downside risk.
Yeah.
Now at the same time, when I did that, San Diego State had an executive financial planning program that allowed you to sit for the CFP exam. So for anyone who doesn't know, the CFP exam is essentially kind of like the bar exam for financial advisors. You got to
Don't
do
overplay that. Come on.
no,
Yeah.
it's the truth.
Oh, the bar.
Okay, fifty
Give me
percent pass rate, but just
the
like everyone else,
bar.
doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you are a capable financial advisor. I mean, but you got to remember,
They
I'm
sold
like
you. You drank the Kool-Aid of the
I'm,
CFPs.
I'm 26, 27 years old, man. I need those letters behind my name so that people will
That
listen to me, right?
so that I will agree that if you're younger and you're starting out and you can do it while you're still in school mode, I think once
Mm-hmm.
you start getting to real world practicality, I think it's only
Absolutely.
come up once or twice out of the hundreds, if not thousand people that I've seen in my
Yeah.
career.
Yeah.
Like, right. Because if you're talking like, I think, actually, I'll just tell you this really quickly. This was
Uh-huh.
really funny. I did my first workshop. This was at Mastro Steakhouse in Westlake Village. And I was doing the talk on taxes, lowering your taxes in retirement. This lady, very first lady, came in, had about $5 million, and I was like, whoa, that was the biggest I'd seen to date. And she goes, but you're not a CFP. And I go, yeah. She goes, how do you know what to do? I go, well, I got one thing to tell you about this. You showed up to my dinner to listen to me, and you're in my office.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There
So
you
I
go.
must know enough to pique your interest to come in and see me. I mean, at the
Right.
very least.
Right.
So I do have a financial license. There it is on the
Mm-hmm.
wall,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But anyways,
Yeah.
it's just funny.
Yeah.
But that's the
Yep.
only time it ever came into play for me. That maybe one other.
Yeah, I don't think that, I mean,
Keep
like
myself
it doesn't
honest.
hurt, but it's not like it's like, oh, this huge like thing.
I know others that would get rid of it. They're like, hey, I don't even know if I want to keep this because you got to keep doing the continuing education. And they're just
Right,
like,
right, right.
ultimately, what? So, okay, just tell me out here.
So anyways, yeah. So
You're
so
helping me.
anyways,
So, like, people that are going to watch this, if
yep.
anybody ever watches this, right? Uh,
Mhm.
Pulls up the archives someday. You're going to have people that might be consumers, or you might have some financial advisors, right? So, like,
Right.
I don't want to like completely bag on it because I do think there is some value, but at the same time, what is the real advantage of having it? Because what is it? You're a fiduciary, right?
Right. I mean, I
Okay, because
always
I'm a
say that
fiduciary and I don't have
yeah,
those magical
yeah,
letters
yeah.
behind my name. Wait, hold
I
on. I'm just trying to get.
yeah.
Let me see if I can figure this out. You
Yeah.
can sell insurance. You believe in insurance products. Well, okay, I got an insurance license. I believe in it.
Mhm.
You sell stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and a portfolio. Well, hey, we we do that.
Right.
I believe in alternative investments. I believe in putting a full service financial plan together, and I believe putting people's best interest in front of my own. Right.
Right. Yeah. I would say
Your
in
rebuttal,
general,
your rebuttal, gentlemen.
Well, yeah. Well, unfortunately, Joe, I would say you're the exception, not the rule. I mean, you know that you recruit advisors, and
Oh, come on, I
you
do
come into
not. They just
you.
love to talk to me.
Oh yeah, yeah. You come into contact with a lot of people that you would definitely not work with or not recommend that anyone you know work with.
I
And
agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that. I'm
yeah,
giving you crap just because I know you,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
know, I highly look. I highly respect anybody that wants a higher education and to do the designations because I do think there is value. In all honesty,
yeah.
and I looked into it myself. Had I kept going down the path, I probably would have done it just because.
Right.
Honestly,
Yeah, I think it was just like a logical next step for me. I was also really young. Like I said, it was a confidence thing for me and others also. I was in school mode, so it was easy for me, like
yeah,
taking
that's
tests and
that's
doing
the
that. Like
challenge.
that,
And you got straight A's, so like crap like that's
and
easy
school
for
was
you.
always easy for me. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like it wasn't like a test was like tests have always been like, oh dude, I got this. Like tests, like that's just game time, right? That's when you're on the mat, that's when you're on the field. Like that's just game time. So that's how it was for me at least.
No, so I was the guy that could always do a presentation, that could always do the homework. I was the guy that sucked at the test. And
Yeah.
it wasn't that I didn't know the information, but I hurried. I
Yeah.
never I didn't learn how to take tests till much later. It took me a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
learning how to take tests simply for me would have been just slow down. But I was
Hmm.
like, I was so confident that I knew information. I just hurry up, get through. And I'm like, what? How to get
Yeah.
a C on that?
Yeah.
I knew all
Yeah.
that.
I can remember. I definitely rushed too, but my issue was always I just wouldn't read that whole dang question. I'd always miss the knots and the don'ts, like
Yeah,
in
that was my
college.
problem.
Like I would
I did
we'd always
not
joke.
miss it.
I'd always joke with my wife because I pretty much tutor her in like half of the accounting and finance classes in college, and she got a higher grade on every test than me because she
Yeah.
would read the question and I wouldn't. but but yeah, so I mean, I decided to do the CFP. Like, I knew that like Beacon wasn't like my end game. And once I finished the coursework and set for the CFP and passed the CFP, this was like 08, 09 ish. So like this is when the world was falling apart
Yeah.
last time around, right? Different times, similarities for sure, but uh at that point, I decided to start my own company. I affiliated with a broker dealer called USA Financial. They were a broker dealer, RIA, uh,
Good group
insurance
of
shop,
guys.
like all under one
I
roof.
know them. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're actually good guys. I know their
they're
president.
awesome. They
I
were.
don't
I mean,
know him like know him, but
yeah,
he knows my name. I know his name. We've met.
yeah. Well, Mike and Brett were super cool. Like they did a good job of like kind of building community among the advisors, and so like that was very helpful because I was still, I was only 3 years into the business. Um, but I just took it as like, okay, so now this is kind of my opportunity to take what I learned at New York Life, take what I learned like about like these cool other insurance products, take what I learned, through all the CFP coursework and everything, and kind of like put my own spin on it. So that's where I started the Gifford Group, which later became Gifford Planning Strategies, and I ran with that for about 10 years. And then just basically kind of hit you had mentioned earlier structure, and like I kind of hit
Yeah,
a point to where I felt like there was kind of a roof over my ceiling and I didn't know how to break through it. And so I either had to spend like a ton of money figuring it out, or I had to find somewhere else that maybe already had all those systems and everything and all that
sure.
structure in place. And so um that's when I decided to actually go back in the corporate world, like indirectly. So I went into the independent channel of Raymond James with a company called Nevada Family Wealth. Awesome firm, awesome people. Um, they and jumping in with them just took my practice from like a planning and from like a implementation standpoint to another level, just becoming much more proactive, having systems, having structures, having all of that stuff. Um, and I'd probably still be with them, except for I just didn't agree with the investment methodology that we were pitching for everybody. It was like
Yeah,
I was at New York Life all over again. Instead of pitching whole life insurance, I was pitching a specific buy and hold mutual fund portfolio, and that just wasn't like what I really believed in and was really passionate about. And so, um, the method was great. The information that I received over there was awesome. The people, like I've got like so much love for all of them. But it wasn't the right long-term fit for me. And you know, we know that like relationships come in and out of your life throughout life, and they steer you in a direction, or they help you improve or teach you something. And I
Yeah.
definitely improved there, definitely learned a ton there, but definitely knew that like being part of a big company just was never going to work for me. And so uh, you know, you had mentioned this in a previous call that we've had, but I ran into this investment manager, investment publication called Market Gauge. This was in like 2020. Started kind of using them for inputs on portfolio strategy for my clients at Raymond James. Had a lot of success. And as I continue to kind of get pigeonholed into exactly what Raymond James wanted me to do versus what I wanted to do, I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And I need to find another place to go. So I picked up the phone and I interviewed, you know, and talked to everybody, Morgan Stanley, UBS, some of the regionals like Lincoln Financial Group. Was getting so frustrated by the whole experience that I finally picked up the phone and just called Market Gauge and said, "Hey guys, like, well, first of all, they answered the phone, so that was cool because that doesn't typically happen. And I said,
Right.
hey, like I'm a financial advisor. I like what you're doing here. I like how you're building investment strategy for clients and prospective clients. Like, what can we do to work together? And the CEO of Market Gauge, Keith Snyder, said, hey, I think you need to talk to this guy Don. And then Don said,
Don the
call
connector,
up Don, and, and
you
and
know?
Don said, you need to talk to Joe. And then I think a week later, I was sitting in my first Zoom with you, Joe. And
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
and we were having a conversation about me
Somehow
potentially
that turned you over here. I don't know. I
leaving.
turn people to the
Yeah.
dark side, which is why I wear the
Yeah.
dark colors
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
dark background.
Hey, you know, and you won't let me, right? And you tell me I look too much like the mafia when I do it.
Yeah, well, you wear a black suit and a black tie or that really red tie, man. You look like you're gonna
Yeah,
break
yeah,
somebody's
there you go. And then
kneecaps.
I just get the like the mugshot look on my face, like
Yeah,
I'm about to go out and
and
wrestle
you know how to
someone.
wrestle,
Yeah,
so that's a big
yeah,
deal
yeah.
too.
And then got the little bit of the cauliflower ear on the side, not too crazy, but yeah, man. So, I mean, that's how I ran into obviously ran into you. You and I like have gotten along since day one. I mean, I think a lot of it just because we come from such similar backgrounds, athletically speaking, and kind of like what our path was. Um, and you know, you were the only one that, you know, I think like I put everybody through the gamut of like I had like 30 questions that I gave every single person that I interviewed with over like that 12-month period. And I think you're the only one that answered all of them. And so like that was
I
like
got nothing better to do, so I
yeah,
just answer
well, you know, I didn't know
questions.
that at the time. So but
But no. Honestly,
yeah.
actually, one of the things I've done because I've talked to advisors, like I was in such a weird, not to, you know, we can get back to your story, but I was in such
Mhm.
a weird position when I came into this business that my dad had, I always say he had like three different businesses accidentally. He had his financial advisory practice. He had a RIA that he was managing with advisors underneath it,
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
kind of like adding people. And then he was a money manager. And so
Mhm.
I didn't know that we were different. Like I didn't know that was a unique thing at the time,
Right.
right?
Right.
But I was always open and honest with people. They call me and they'd say, "Hey, you know, I'm thinking about moving. Are you guys accepting advisors or can you manage our money?" And I would say, "Look, you know, this is especially like not it's not true for Tactive, but it was true at the time. I go, look, that it's me and my dad. Like you're going to need help. You're going to call me. And I've been in the business for 2 years, but I'll
Right.
tell you what I'll do. I'll work on the models and I'll do your trading and I'll do your billing and all that stuff. Like I had to figure it out. And
Right.
thankfully, you know, the advisors, you know, they were appreciative that I was just that open and honest. Cause a lot of other
Right.
firms, I think they're going to do the fake it till you make it. And
Mhm.
I'm the more, I've done this even now when we started Tactive. I'd say, look, we just started, there's 5 employees right now. Like there's 5 of us, but we're going to bust our butts to do what we can to make you happy. Like, you
Mhm.
know, that's how you start things. But I don't think you should fake it. I think you should just tell people where you're at, let them know that, you know, just be honest. And I think with you and I, you know, uh, just thinking back to that conversation, it was just more along the lines. I think I even told you, I go, look, man, like we're not big, but you'll have the flexibility to do this. This is my philosophy about money management. This is my philosophy about the markets. This is my philosophy about, being an advisor. If that aligns with you and you want to join, cool, we can build something cool together. And if not, no hard feelings. I don't even know you anyways. I'm not going to cry.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's funny you bring that up because we were just I've got a 5-year-old, and a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old, but my 5-year-old Bo, we were just talking to him. We wanted him to ask his teacher a question, and he's just like scared to do it. And it's like, what we're trying to teach him is like, it's okay to ask. And the people that ask are the ones that get ahead in life. And so like we're trying to teach him that at a young age. And it's kind of like the same thing. Like when you're meeting with a client, at some point you got to ask them to do business with you, and the same thing with us, like we both got to ask on both sides, like, does this make sense for us? But you got to ask the questions that nobody else will ask, because everyone else always just gives you like the skirted answer. And so I think
let me
that
ask,
was
let
like
me ask
one
you a
thing
question real quick. Hold on a minute.
that
Cause
stood out.
you're
Yeah.
just reminding me of something.
Yep.
Okay. So now you're an advisor now, and you just got done doing this webinar. So I know you've had people come in.
Right. Right.
Are you at the point, because I got to this point, where you don't care as much if somebody becomes a client anymore? Like, let me preface this too.
Yeah.
In the beginning, every single dollar counts. Like it's a $50,000 account. You're like, I'm in, the person's a pain in the butt, and they're going to be, you're like, I got to do it. Yep. But near the end, even when I was just starting to get Tactive rolling, and I did a webinar and I was talking to people, there were a few people I turned down that had multi-million-dollar, like a couple $1,000,000, right? Would have been a big deal. Would have been a lot of revenue for me, right? But they were just such assholes. And I was just like, if you don't agree with my methodology, you don't agree with what I'm doing, then, no worries. We'll talk. You can go find another advisor. And they get so mad when you do that, but you're happier. And I feel like it's easier to close when you have that attitude, right? Because you're not desperate.
Yeah, I think that, I agree. I think like obviously when you get started, do they have a pulse? Okay, they're a prospect.
Yeah.
Right. But now I agree with you. I've got something good to say. You're gonna move forward or you're not. And if you don't, I'm gonna find someone else who will. Right. And I don't need to cater, and change the way I do things for each person to make them happy. Like we have a way that we do things that works. It works well. Just like in wrestling, like I'm gonna show you, this is how you do the move, right? This is how you do it.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're gonna battle back, then okay, well, then I'm just not going to work with you, right? Like we have a way of doing things. This is how it works. It works well. And I don't, yeah, I definitely, like, I do not chase at all. I mean, there was a time where it was like, oh, I mean, I'll check in, but I don't chase. I don't chase business. I don't work with people that I don't like. I don't work with people that like aren't bought in. If they feel like they can do it better, then go do it better. Like that's
Look,
fine.
I would say, this is me, obviously I have Tactive and we have a robo. Right. If they only want to use me for wealth management and they're like a smaller account, I'd say, here's the robo for you. It's a perfect product. Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the hand holding, you're not going to have to meet with anybody. Just put your money in, set it, forget it. But for those that have a little more net worth, have some more account values, and they need some guidance, that's when they need to actually listen to the person they're paying.
Right.
Right. And I've had too many people in the past. I was thinking about this dude this morning as I was on the treadmill. And I remember he had like 7 million, and he brought his spreadsheet into me. And then he wanted me to like validate his plan, and he wanted me to like go line by line with what was going on. His wife was there, and like he's like, this is my perfect plan and this is what I'm going to do. I'm like, well, are you going to work with me or are you not? Because like, I'm not
Right.
going to sit here and give you all the details so you can take the spreadsheet home. And he goes, well, if I can do it, I'm going to do it. And I go, okay, great. I go, hand your spreadsheet over to her. And she goes, well, I don't know anything about it. I go, exactly. So when you die, sir, and you have to hand a spreadsheet over to you, what's she going to do? Like,
Mm-hmm.
are you so, narcissistic, or you're not thinking of your loved one who's sitting right here next to you, that you're not going to get somebody like, why don't you hire me now or hire somebody like me now that you both enjoy talking to and working with? That way, when you pass away, statistically guys die sooner than women. Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
that's just how it
Mm-hmm.
is.
That's the way it
But,
works.
when you pass away, at least you have somebody you trust, but you're going to give her a spreadsheet and you're going to expect her to, like, while everything else is going on, and each of us have had clients pass away on us. It's heartbreaking to us, but like, that the spouse that's going through it is devastated. And for her to sit there and have to deal with finances and all the other BS that comes with it, it's a nightmare. Like,
Oh yeah.
just to give somebody a spreadsheet and have them figure it out. To me, that's the most selfish person. And, I'm not saying his name. Don't even remember his name. Boy, was that a jerk.
That's the crazy thing about this business, right? Is you learn things about people that like you just can't believe. I mean, some of the people that like I looked up to most growing up in my life that granted me the opportunity to talk to them about planning, learning what actually made them tick made me not even respect them anymore. Like it's crazy when like someone's values are like so like misaligned, when it comes to stuff like that. And I know like if anything ever happened to me, it's like, well, Kristen knows who to call and who to talk to, but she's not going to do it, right? Like
I
that,
have to
that's
get better.
that.
I tell Christina this all the time. I go, look, I got things pretty well figured out. I go, but I need to bring you in. And I do. I actually have told her certain things, and then she gets mad at me. She's like, I don't want to think about it. I go, but you got to. I go, look,
Right,
I go,
right.
I know I'm not like, look, I'm what, 42 right now. So I'm 42. Yeah, I did turn 42 this year. Holy cow. I still feel
Yeah,
like I'm 30, but I'm like,
you're
I don't
81
plan on,
boy.
don't
Hmm.
plan on going anywhere anytime soon, but here's
Right.
this, and this, and
Yeah, yeah.
they
We
don't like
just
that.
we just updated like our trust and everything. Kristen completely redid it. She's an estate planning attorney, and she
Shameless plug.
yeah, there you go. Right. You gotta get in there, man. But yeah, like we start thinking about this stuff, and then she brings up stuff that I don't even think about, and I'm a financial planner. I'm like, huh, yeah, interesting.
Well,
you start, and yeah, but it's not like I'm immune to kind of thinking about it now because it's just like so normal for me. But and I forget that like people say like the one thing about me is like I'll ask the awkward questions and won't even have a second thought about it.
well,
You
you
got
want
to
to
do
know,
that.
if I was starting over again at 25, like let's say I was
Mhm.
doing it. Actually, let's just put it this way: if you are a financial advisor and you're starting over again, here's what I would do. Um, I would go find somebody else. Like let's just say you're 25.
Mhm.
I'd search around who are other 25-year-olds that are in estate planning, who are other 25-year-olds that are CPAs, and offer, like, take them all out to drinks or lunch, probably drinks at that age. Get an attorney in there. The people that you need, that you don't know the answers because you don't know all those answers and you're going to screw some planning up. And then I would say, let's form an office together. And then, as a team, we're going to go ahead and attack this plan together. So that way you've built your little network inside this
Mhm.
circle, but you're working together. We try to do it too late. Like if we try to do it at our age and like we contact the CPA, they're like advisors are doing that all over the country right now. That's like the
Right,
new
of
thing.
course.
Well, it's not even
Right.
the new thing. It's been going on for like the last 5 or 6 years. They're like, oh, we got to get into the CPA network because now we're going to get all these referrals. And you had a couple of advisors that had a lot of success doing that. But then they're all weary. They're like, why are all these advisors all of a sudden calling me and reaching out to me? Like clearly they want my network. What are they going to do for me? Right.
Right.
Because most people have actually almost everybody, unless you TurboTax yourself, you have
Mhm.
somebody that does your taxes or you have somebody helping you manage your business accounting
Right.
and finances. Not everybody has a financial advisor.
Right.
There's a
Right.
lot fewer advisors to people than there are accountants and CPAs to people.
Absolutely. Well, I think too that like, you've mentioned it in the past, but it's like not everyone has a financial advisor, but everyone thinks they're like an expert in finance. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen it these last couple of years where we've had some crazy things happen. We've had stocks like GameStop go up like I don't even know what the percentage, just astronomical percentages.
You've been
That
on
just
TV. You should
that
know the
that that,
percentage.
that just the yeah no I don't focus on meme stocks. Okay, that's not one of the things I'm known for. Um, but like there's a big disconnect, because with what a financial advisor is, I think also from the standpoint that a lot of people think that you're like an investment manager, and it's like, well, okay, that's part of what we do, but I mean, I would say that we're more, we're financial coaches, we're financial counselors, right? We're the person protecting you against yourself in a lot of scenarios. We're the ones
So
saying, hey,
Eddy,
don't buy all that.
where are financial advisors? Where are they getting it wrong when it comes to the communication to the end user, the clients, the people out there? What are they doing that's not resonating with people? Like,
I,
I
you
have
know,
my opinion on it, but
I
curious on
think that
yours.
they're just, I don't know. I haven't met a financial advisor or investment manager that doesn't have like a crazy ego. So I think that like a lot of it is they're not approachable. They're relatively smug in general, and so and they don't listen. Like as much as like we're supposed to be like the good listeners. uh they don't listen, right? The other thing too is that you're very unique, or we are very unique at Tactive, because like we're able to take on like the $10,000 account, right? And help that like build over time and everything. Like a lot of these guys, like they won't even talk to you if you don't even have like $1 million in assets, right? And so like
Yeah.
they're
Ego.
missing out on a huge demographic, and what's going to happen is that huge demographic they're going after is going to die. The kids are going to get the money, and there is no way that those kids are going to work with that advisor. So I think it's just a lack of approachability in general, and then just like not being not being willing to actually educate the people that need it. I think are two
Agreed.
things that they don't do.
I think ego is one of those main drivers that turns people off. I think they live their financial life is inauthentic. I've been to so many,
Yeah.
of these trainings from the top people, and you watch their presentation, and they're literally their presentations are there, but it's not real. And I have an example. There was one guy who was like the guy at this one marketing organization I was
Right.
a part of.
Right. Right.
Well, I'm positive, so I don't badmouth people, but
Right.
let me do a but in there. I'm not gonna say who it is, but he had this awesome family persona and was the likable guy, really funny, really charismatic, lots of business. And behind the scenes, he was a monster and just mean to people and cuss at people, would drink a lot. Not that
Mhm.
drinking's an issue, but then all the other stuff would come out.
Right. Right.
And it's like, man, it's like you're living a double life. Like, how do people turn that on like that? And
Right.
like when I did workshops and seminars, I mean, like the way we're talking, that's me. I do my
Right.
jokes. You do have energy, like you get hyped up. You got a little more energy. You're a little more
Right.
charismatic. So
Right.
I get
Right.
that,
Yeah.
but it was always me. I wasn't trying to use other.
Yeah.
It just you can tell when it's cheesy and fake. But the problem is a lot of the public, they don't understand that, and there are still a lot of people that do the educational workshops and seminars. They're one dimensional. They're selling one product. Everybody gets put in the same thing, and they're not legit. And it ruins it for everybody who's trying to be legit.
It does. It does. I mean, and like uh going back to like the CFP, like I would always like lean on that and say, look, like anybody can call themselves a financial advisor, not anybody can call themselves a certified financial planner, right? But I
Oh
mean,
man,
at the end of the day, like
it's low blow, Eddie.
Yeah, well, there it is, right? I have it, you don't. There you go. But the thing about it is that there's like so much stuff out there now, right? And the access to it is like so easy because of technology, right? But
Do you think we're winning the advisors?
I think we're losing it. I think it's
Ah,
because we're doing a bad job of interpreting these things for clients. Like we're not I mean, when you
but
can have
do you think it's the age of our demographic of who's an advisor today? I mean, like you and I were kind of the mid range,
Jay, you
right?
told me we weren't going to talk politics, man. Come on.
No, but let's be honest. Like, look, my dad's 70.
Yeah,
He's an advisor, and I love him to death. And his clients love him because they go to church together, they go off with each other, they
right.
go to lunches. Like, he's old school, and it's funny for me to say old school, you know, but he is. And there are a lot of advisors that are fine still doing that. But when you say we're losing, who are we losing to when it comes to this education at this point?
I mean, I feel like part of it is we're losing the headlines, right? I mean,
Yeah,
we're losing the
agreed.
outlets. We're losing to like media moguls. Like, I mean, the Dave Ramseys of the world. I mean,
Don't hurt
like,
my hero.
yeah, of course. But um, like we're losing to the meme stocks. Like we're losing to these like social media influencers. Like we're that are pitching something that's is that they're just doing a better job of like showing like the what ifs of wealth, right? I mean, at the end of the day,
They
but
make
the
it
reality
interesting.
is that you can only like 1 out of 1 million, 1 out of 1 billion are going to get lucky on a stock, right? The people that can actually experience what these individuals are projecting are the people that actually have a sound plan, working with someone who can interpret what's actually what some of these things actually mean, and can actually cut through all the noise. Like there's so much noise out there, and yeah, on the one side, the guys, the 60 plus, like they just don't get it and they just don't care. They're not gonna, like my dad. He's not a financial advisor, but he ain't changing. I promise you that. Like he's gonna be him. He's not going to adapt and adjust or anything. Like that's not the world they came from. And so I think that's like the hardest thing to overcome, is that I remember like, well, the first time I got like the Bitcoin question, it's like, I'll actually look into it for you and I'll be able to
Yeah.
interpret and I'll be able to like break down what it is and how it works and all of that. But most people aren't. It's dumb. Or no, everything should just go into an annuity, or, oh no, everything should go into real estate, right? Or everything should go into growth mutual funds, right? Like it's no, ever like we have all these tools at our disposal. We've got like the biggest, as a financial advisor, we've got like the every tool that you could ever potentially think of to use to implement a project and to accomplish any goal or objective. And most advisors are only using a hammer and a nail, right?
Yeah.
Or a screwdriver and a
Yeah.
screw, and that's it, right? They're not using anything else. Um, and so when the shiny new toy down the street is being advertised on social media, people flock to that instead of flocking to their advisor, because like the advisor is always giving the same exact advice. They're not listening,
Believe it or not, I was listening as you're doing this. I was writing down some rapid fire questions I'm going to ask you in a minute.
oh man,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. No, so I, we're getting to the hour, so I want to wrap it up. But I appreciate you coming on. I mean, I think, we can do this again too, anytime we want to, but
Mhm.
I just like having the conversations, and I don't want to make it so, um, I don't want this to get something where it's just us talking about the markets. And
Right.
there will be times where we do want to talk about the economy and actually understand what's actually happening, and that can be interesting in itself. But for us, I think just kind of understanding the mindset of what financial advisors are like,
Right.
um, could help consumers out, but it could also help other advisors out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe they can
that
get
makes
something from
sense.
this.
Yeah, I
So
think too that
all,
like not to, sorry to cut you off.
No, it's all right. I cut you off all the time.
You would ask the question, like, why are we losing? I think another reason that we're losing, like, is that, like, we're too one-dimensional, right? Or we're not sharing the other stuff. Like it goes back to being relatable. Like you said
No,
at the
you're
beginning
wrong.
today.
No, you're off. You're wrong.
You think so?
We just don't have the attention. We're boring.
Yeah. Well,
That's it. It's
that's, I
it.
mean,
Like
that's it.
I just had this. I just had this talk with Zach. Because he was worried because of all my crazy digital marketing ideas, and he actually didn't think it were crazy. But I'm just saying that now because it's more fun to be a mad scientist.
Right. Right.
We have no attention. One, we don't have attention to us, and we don't understand where to get it because we're still trying to put mailers out to come to our dinner seminar, or we're still trying to put Facebook ads out to go to our webinar. And it's not saying that those things don't work, but you're not getting mass attention, like other people are on social media, and we're not fun. Like there's nothing that we talk about because like when we want to do a podcast, we're going to sit there and talk about, let's talk about Apple and Microsoft, which is one of my questions, by the way, but let's talk about those two stocks right now. And like, okay, but there's a million resources online that I can go and see that. I want to see a personality like, and usually I tell you this, and I don't know if you're the same way, but I know people are the same way. And you're not necessarily a person because I'm pretty sure you're a robot. But besides that,
well, there's that. Yeah. I do have a titanium hip, so yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Well, when you're interested in a subject, you start diving in with that person. Like, oh, this person made a good point. Let me see what else they have to talk about, right? Mm-hmm. We have zero content online. And so, you know what I'm doing to put my money where my mouth is. But like, if we look at and a lot of it just because our industry was so highly regulated, and we still are, that people are so afraid to put anything new on. And the stuff that advisors get, like that are compliance ready, that material is the same crap that 10,000 other people are putting on the same, social media, and you have overlap in the same audience. And like, okay, I know that somebody hit a button for them, and there's nothing authentic.
Boring.
Like I want to, like, wouldn't you want to work with an advisor that's authentic and like you get along with?
Original.
Like
yeah.
Okay. So rapid fire, then we'll wrap this up. Lottery, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Buy a car or boat?
Car.
Okay. Microsoft or Apple?
Apple.
Baseball or hockey?
Hockey.
Bitcoin, yes or no?
Yes.
Would you ever create an NFT? Yes or no?
Yes.
Maybe the question should be, do you know what an NFT stands for?
I
know. Real estate, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Break a finger, hospital, or tape it up?
Tape it up.
Yeah, that's the best way. Gatorade or water?
Water.
Los Angeles or New York?
LA.
Yeah, me too. All right. That was my last 10 just random questions that I thought about as you were droning on.
Well, thank you, Joe.
I wouldn't say that to any other guest if I didn't know them personally, like you. But
no, I think that to go back to kind of like beginning, I think that the biggest thing that we're missing is we're boring. Like we're not authentic. We're not out there like being us. Like, I mean, we talked a lot about a lot of different things. I mean, my passion in life is my family. My passion in life is my fitness. I train jujitsu 3 days a week. I run 2 days a week. I do CrossFit 1 day a week. My wife kicks my butt, so then it takes me a week to put my ego away before I'll actually work out with her again.
You gonna start an Instagram with your shirt off or something? Like, what are you getting at?
I mean, all I'm saying is that like my clients know that about me, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of clients don't know anything other than like, oh, he's my money guy, right? They don't know that that their money guy has 2 kids and that he wrestled and that, I mean, like, I try to practice what I preach, right? So of course I always get the, do you work out question? I'm like, no, absolutely not. Completely not authentic. I don't do anything. Yes, I try to eat healthy. I work out every day. Same thing with my business. Like I'm proactively always trying to improve in whatever way I can, whether that's finding the new best strategy, or just making sure that like we're following up in a timely manner. So,
Yeah.
um, but I think that's that's the thing, right? And the other thing is just like, yeah, I'm a firm believer that every day you move forward or you move backwards. You never just stay the same. And so like you have the choice every day to take a step forward or backward. And
Only go
sometimes,
forward.
unfortunately, you're gonna get knocked backward, right? And it's your ability to like get back up and keep moving forward, that's gonna make a difference in your life, for yourself and your family and for your clients. So the positivity thing that you alluded to earlier on, it's not easy to be positive all the time, but you can make that choice to be positive, because every single thing that happens to you in your life is either an opportunity or a catastrophe. It just depends on your perspective. And so
Ooh,
treat them as opportunities
last question, man.
and go get
I'm
it.
listening. Yeah, I'm letting you finish off and I'm
Yeah,
cutting you off
yeah,
at the same
yeah.
time. Last question.
All right, last question.
Um, so I'm gonna just give I wake up every day at 5 a.m. and
Mhm.
I put the mindset of like I'm like, oh, it's early, and I'm like, I get to wake up and work out. Like I get to do this today.
Get
That's
to.
what I always
Yep.
change it to. So 5 a.m. usually working out by 5:36. Then you guys get some emails from me, and then
Yep.
and then
Of
I post on
course.
some social media. Then I
Uh,
make breakfast for me, the wife, and get the little guy up now, and then off to work I go. What's your morning routine like?
not that different. Up at 5 a.m., get up, kind of get organized, go work out, finish do the workout, probably hang out, talk to the guys for a little bit before heading back, just build those relationships. Head back, get the kids ready to go to school, get them off to school, and then jump into my workday. So, but every day is the same. I mean, like it's got to
Consistent.
start with some type of activity,
Consistency.
and
I love that.
yep, consistency. Yep,
All right, man.
consistency drives success.
That's a good place for us to stop. I appreciate it, Eddie. Eddy Gifford, CFP, clearly better than me, with that CFP. Awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna hit stop now. We'll move on.
All right, thanks, Jeff.